I really lucked out in like almost every single capacity, aside from the cancer,
Right.
in
Right.
regards to like this situation.
I mean, if you're looking at it from that point of view, it's like you were made for this. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah. Am I wrong? Like you've been preparing your whole life to be in this situation.
Almost, it does feel like that though. If you think about it, it's like, yeah, like I was made like literally, like at age 35, God was like, you know what, you're gonna get cancer, and you're gonna be extremely graceful and amazing and
Right.
enthusiastic about it, and
Right.
then you're gonna shift like the conversation, or you're gonna shift the mentality and the mindset that people have around cancer.
Right. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Anthony. I'm starting this series just to kind of shine light on, what's your why. I've been really getting into different types of inspiration, people, ideas, mentalities, and just why do you wake up in the morning and attack your day? Why do you do the things that you do? Why do you work so hard? Why do you strive for greatness every day? And so I wanted to dive into people's lives and see, where they're coming from. Just different people, different perspectives, different life situations, life experiences, and if these people can do it, then what's stopping me from doing it? What's stopping me from reaching for the stars? This first part of the series, I'm talking to one of my good friends, Jamal. For as long as I've known him, he's always been so positive, so uplifting, and so giving, no matter what he was going through personally, he was always about the next person. He was always about making you feel better, always about looking at the bright side. And he was recently diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. And he's taking it in such an amazing way. I wanted to share his story. I wanted to share his mentality through it all, and just, for somebody going through what he's going through right now, it's to still hold on to that mentality. It's amazing. It's inspirational. It's motivational. It's amazing, and he's got an awesome story to tell. And I just wanted to get it out. So he agreed to talk with me for a little while this evening, and to share his story and share his side. So hopefully he'll be able to kind of get something out of it. So what's up, man?
Not much. How are you?
Good. How you feeling?
Amazing and better every single day. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Healthy and well, staying away from the virus, and it is what it is. You doing good?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Every day I just like wake up more motivated than the last, which is great, and just like really like all the support from like all my friends and just everybody coming out of everywhere has just been like a miracle.
Right.
Because I would never suspected anything like this. So
right.
I'm just like super grateful to have people like you and just everybody else who's been reaching out in my life. And I apologize for keeping it a secret. I didn't know how to deal with it myself.
I know. I mean, you were still trying to process everything and take it in, so that's all right, man. But I was like, I felt it. Like I knew you were like just holding back. I was like, man, he's not telling the whole. He's telling the truth, but he's not telling the whole truth. You know what I mean? Like he's just being Jamal. Like he's just being, still positive and just kind of letting it roll off his back. And I'm like, man, that's just who he is.
And it's an extent of like, like how vulnerable do I want to like be and like expose myself, and like I didn't want to be as vulnerable as I was. So like that's really like what I was dealing with.
Right.
And then when I finally was confronted by it, I was finally realizing like, I like contributing to other people. I like when people contribute to me, and now not allowing them to like be a part of my world and be able to contribute to me, like it was just like, I'm like depriving them of the same joy that I get from helping them.
True.
I was just like, wow. Once I realized that, like, things just shifted for me.
My, how the tables have turned.
How the mighty have fallen. How the tables have
When my dad was in the hospital like 2 years ago,
I was just like set. If I can work out, if I can be healthy, eat right, and you know, just exercise and be fit, you know, like I can avoid any kind of health problems later on, you know. If something happens later on, then at least I know that I did everything in my power to
Yeah.
to try to prevent it. And so I just figured it'd be like an easier pill to swallow, per se, like if something happens. On your side, I mean, you're a fit dude. I mean, you go to the gym a couple times a day, and that's why one of the questions I wanted to ask, was it an easier pill to swallow, you know, knowing that you did everything you could? Was it easier at all, or was it just...
It was an interesting transition because it's like, you know, I look at like shirtless selfies that I took the day before,
Right.
and I was just like, it's so crazy. I was like, you know, I'm like posting like these shirtless selfies with me having a six pack, weighing like 140 pounds,
Right.
on like, you know, February 3rd, and then checking myself into the hospital February 4th for like, you know, a stomach ache because I can't eat. And was it a tough pill to swallow? Like, I remember like them being like, you know, maybe it's appendicitis. Like, okay, we ruled that out. Maybe we'll take you to the GI, the gastrointestinologist, and then, you know, me doing a colonoscopy and them saying like, yeah, there's a tumor in your colon that we can't get the camera by, and if we try to get the camera by it may cause further complications, so we'll just do like an MRI and a CT scan of your abdomen. And then, you know, just like me the entire time, like just thinking like, yeah, like it'll come back benign, like, yeah, like this will be nothing, like, yeah, they'll be able to operate and I'll be in and out of the hospital before I know it.
Right.
And then I just remember like February 11th, I'm like coming in the room and they're like, yeah, so we did the biopsy on the tumor and it's cancer. And I'm just like, it's like tears started rolling down my face.
Oh man.
And then like I'm just like, oh my god, like I can't believe this is cancer. Like Superman doesn't get cancer.
Right.
Like, what's going on? Like, you know, I don't get cancer. And then them just saying how like, yeah, like you're also gonna need an ostomy bag, like, you know.
Yeah.
Right now, like I have like a bag like 2 inches to the left of my belly button, you
Right.
know, that like all my waist goes into.
Right.
And it's just like, you know, this like young fit guy with a six pack has like a bag attached to his stomach and like, you know, a port installed in his chest to get chemotherapy treatment.
Right. Before all this, like when you were going to the gym and like in your mind you were healthy and well, what was your why? Like what was your reason for waking up every morning and like attacking the day? Like what was your reason for going to the gym, working out? What was your reason for like just doing the stuff that you were doing, you know, like positivity and that whole mentality? Like what was the reason why?
More recently, I think my reason why has just been to find more reasons why. Because I feel like when you find more reasons to do something, you're more likely to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I'd be at the gym, I'd be like just lifting and like, you know, I'll hit like a little bit of a slump where I won't want to do my next set. So I'll just like find like a person who's like super jacked, and I'm just like, dude, like what's your motivation? Or like, you know, like, you know, like I'll be like ask a chick like, are you just doing this for the gram? Like, what are you doing? You know, like, you know,
Right.
asking like, what's your motivation?
Right.
And then like, you know, they'll be like, you know, it's like, I really want to be healthy, and then like they'll either give me like a little bit of a backstory or they'll give me like a one-word answer, but like it's enough to kind of like get me through that moment. Because,
Right.
you know, motivation is fleeting. It's like it's there one moment, it's there, it's not there the next, and it's just like all you need to do really is like get over this hump in this moment while you're experiencing it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, momentum kicks in.
Yeah. Like somebody like said the other day, and I really liked it. Like, it's not that you lose motivation; it's that you lose focus on that motivation.
Yeah,
You would say?
because I realized that, you know, like Anthony Robbins, he's like, you know, like you just have to keep finding reasons why to do something. So
Right.
it's just like the more reasons why you have to do something, the more likely you are to do it. Just
Right.
like the reason why you don't do something is probably because you have more reasons not to do it. Like, you know
Okay.
what, I'll eat this cake because it's good, it's delicious, it's amazing, you know, this will be the last piece of the day, you know, or like any kind of like justification or reason that you can find, you know, will justify eating that cake. Or saying like, you know, like I shouldn't eat this cake because and
Yeah.
you have your reasons. You know, like on top of that, I've been going to the gym every single day this week, like there's no reason why, you know, like, or even vice versa, like I can have this piece of cake because I've been going, and this will be the last piece of cake, and then, you know, 7 more hard days before my next reward, or something like that.
Right. You brought up what's his name? What was his name?
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Or
Yeah,
Anthony
Tony Robbins. Yeah. He's the guy with the big mouth, right? Or the big chin. From Family Guy. Yeah, I know.
Tony Robbins, that's him. They clearly respect him in the Family Guy universe.
Yeah. One of my coworkers, he's been like really putting me on shifting mentality in terms of um, just different kinds of like motivation. Yeah, it's like, I don't know if you heard of David Goggins.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Navy SEAL.
Yeah. So he's been
Yeah.
like trying to put me on him and like all these other guys who are like ultra runners and stuff. Because I've been like seeking
That
just
next
different
level.
mindsets and mentalities of just going beyond what you think your body can tolerate. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like when your body's telling you to stop, like you can actually do so much more than that.
Yeah.
You know. And so like he's been putting me on all that, and that's actually the reason why like I wanted to do this with you. Like to start off with you, like if people would want to hear about that, you know, knowing you for so long and then now, you know, you're going through this, it's like, and you're still going, you're still upbeat and you're still positive. Like, man, like I want to know your why, you know, I want to know your motivation and what keeps you going.
Yeah, and it's like the main thing was like I think when I realized in the hospital, I was like, you know, leading up to the hospital visit, I had like maybe like 3 weeks of like stomach viruses and like stomach aches. So like, you know, it's kind of like an ongoing thing for like the month of January. So, you know, Happy New Year to me. And then, and then, you know, I go into the hospital, and then I just remember like being there and just saying to myself, like, you know, like you've taken care of me a lot. Like, thank you for everything that you've done. Like, while you were taking care of me, like, kind of just like acknowledging and like really just appreciating myself for what I've done for myself.
Right.
And that, like, you know, like I'm really like, despite how many people are in my life, it's like I'm on this journey by myself. Not saying that there aren't people there with me, not saying that there aren't people there encouraging me, but at the end of the day, it's like I have to keep my spirit strong. I have to keep, you know, my mindset up. And I have to stay on top of my physical activity and my diet. And once I realized that and just kind of like acknowledged myself for that and just like really congratulated and celebrated myself for that, then I was just like, okay, like, well, what I want to do is like partner with like the doctors, the nurses, the nurse tech, basically everybody who walks into that room, and I want them to leave better than when they left, you know? So it's like, I want them to leave like with a smile on their face. So, you know, because like they could be coming in with a frown or with like some kind of weird thoughts from like the last patient that they saw, or like something that they're dealing outside of the hospital, or even with like a coworker or anything, you know? And it's just like, I know that they're dealing with stuff just like I am. So I want myself to be the last of my worries. Not saying that I'm not going to say that I'm not in pain when I need pain medication or anything like that, but I'm going to make it my priority to make sure that, like I said, when they walk out of the room, they leave better than when they came in.
That's amazing, man. You know, to make it about the other people rather than yourself, man, that's amazing, bro.
Yeah. And that's what the weird part is, like, you know, a lot of people like, you know, like, I have so many problems, like how do I deal with them? And it's like, honestly, it's like you get bigger problems. Or it's like, honestly, it's like you put some other people before yourself. It's like once you start to put other people before yourself, then it's like your problems just fall to the wayside, or you're able to like you said, it's like you were looking for, like, you know, it's like the teacher shows up once the student is ready, and with you, it's like you were finally ready, and the teacher started showing up. Like they put you on David Goggins, and next thing you know, like all these motivational speakers came out of the woodwork, you know, all because you were ready. You know, and Einstein says you can't solve a problem at the same logical levels, which means that, like, you know, like an 8th grader can't solve the same problems of like a 12th grader. You know, and it's just like, it's like, and when it comes to motivation, it's like you kind of realize that you hit a wall at one point in your life, and you're like, there has to be something more than this, than just this. Like, there has to be something more than just like hanging out on the weekends, or like, you know, going to work, coming home, watching TV, and going to sleep. It's like we all kind of have this drive and this urge and this desire at one point in time in our lives. And once we're ready for it, you know, that's when these opportunities start showing up.
Right. The fact that you're, again, like, even through this, like, still seeing that and pointing that out for people and for yourself, I mean, that's amazing. Has your mentality changed in terms of just, you know, like how you're attacking the day, or like what's your why now? Like what makes you go to chemo? Like what makes you, like what you said in the podcast, like you have that marathon mentality rather than the sprinter's mentality, you know, like seeing the bigger picture instead of the small. Like what made you start thinking that way?
I think really just realizing that there's a lot of people going through way worse than I am. Like my sister, her 2 kids had sickle cell, so it's like she's been through the whole chemo process before twice, and you know, they're cured now, and it sucks that they went through that. And I'm fortunate that she was like, as soon as she found out, she's like, that's it, you're moving with me, and I'm going to take you to all my treatments. So it's like, not only do I have a place to stay, not only do I have to like not really worry about rent, but it's like I also have somebody who's like making me food and like taking me to all of my appointments. So it's like, and that's like the biggest thing right there, because
Right.
there was a pamphlet that they gave, like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of resources for cancer patients. And like one of them was like transportation services.
Right.
I was like, is transportation really that much of an issue? But it's like after having a surgery, not being able to lift, more than 20 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
And then, and then on top of that, getting chemo, which could make me even weaker. It's like, yeah, I think that's absolutely necessary that people have transportation services. And it's kind of something that you're not aware of, or at least I wasn't aware of until I got into this situation. And I was just like, wow. So like, just me, like, I really got lucky in my situation in understanding that other people aren't as lucky as me. It's like, I'm super outgoing, I have like a great personality. And, some people like are afraid to talk to strangers, so it's just like, I really lucked out in like almost every single capacity, aside from the cancer, in regards to like this situation.
I mean, if you're looking at it from that point of view, it's like you were made for this. You know what I mean? Right? Am I wrong? Like you've been preparing your whole life to be in this situation,
Almost, it does feel like that though. If you think about it, it's like, yeah, like I was made, like literally, like at age 35, God was like, you know what, you're gonna get cancer, and you're gonna be extremely graceful and amazing and enthusiastic about it.
Right.
And then you're gonna shift like the conversation, or you're gonna shift the mentality and the mindset that people have around cancer.
Right.
And it's because usually, like when you see cancer, it's like, oh, like hopefully they'll pull through, or like hopefully they'll come out on top, or like you'll beat this, and it's kind of like encouragement, but kind of like there's like a sorrow behind it, like almost like a foreboding.
Yeah.
Whereas like like I can't, like me, like I can't wait for like my next chemo treatment. It's just like a great person once told me, he was like, no, I can't wait till I die. And I was like, wait, what? He was like, yeah. He was like, because I can't wait to see what heaven is like. I was like taken aback by this statement, but I was like, if you think about it, that's kind of awesome. Like,
yeah. That's true.
And it's just like, I was like, I can't wait for my chemo, because it's like, I can't wait to see what's on the other side of that. Like,
yeah. When you said it's a diagnosis, not a death sentence, I was like, man, that's deep, because it's true. Because a lot of people, once they find out it's cancer or something like super serious, they're like, man, that's it. But just to have that mentality of just, man, looking forward to the next chemo and like what's next or what's after that.
And it's interesting because the majority of the messages that I get are like, I'm sorry, and I'm praying for you, and I'm like, take out the sorry and just keep like the prayers and keep the enthusiasm. And like, I could do with that. Like I could work with that. It's like negativity doesn't live here. And just really not training, but just really practicing like the conversation with the people that are in your life, because it's like you want them to speak to you a certain way so you can maintain a certain mentality so you can get through whatever it is that you're getting through.
Right.
And anybody who's not speaking to you that certain way, it's okay.
Right.
And also at the same time.
Right. See, this is the stuff that I wanted to like get, especially like coming from me, wanting to be motivational, wanting to be like uplifting, wanting to be positive, having that mindset. That's what I wanted to know. Like, has anything changed in terms of that? And like, it just seems like you're good.
Well, I think like you said, it's like I was built for it. And like, so I shared earlier about like the mentality that I've adopted recently. But like, I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, it's like, my dad died. So, like mentally and emotionally, I'm a little unstable. And then I sprained my ankle like the same week, so like, and my main way of like fitness was basketball. So it's like, I'm like slowly getting out of shape, mentally and emotionally unstable, and I was an Uber driver, and then my brakes failed. So it's like, I lost my income, lost my physical fitness, and I lost my father.
Right.
And I just remember saying to myself, I was like, it'd be great if I had like a weekly or a daily motivational call with somebody. Yeah. But I was like, why rely on somebody when they have to deal with their own stuff, when like a recording on your phone will always be there for you? So I just remember downloading like, just Googling like best motivational speeches, like just like YouTubing it, and then just like downloading one of the videos, and then just like listening to it. Literally, it was like for like 3 hours a day, every single day, and just like adopting, repeating, and like just internalizing that mindset, until it finally stuck. And I was just like, okay, like, I'm pretty decent. Now let me find other people like me. And then like, so far I've just been like on a journey just to either motivate and inspire others or find others like me. Wow. And then it's just like, I think it's in finding these alliances that get us to where we want to go.
Right. I mean, yeah, you really got to surround yourself with like-minded people, because somebody's dragging you down. Like, hey, you don't have time for that right now,
Yeah.
And not to say that like, forget them, leave them behind, but just like, you got to keep, for yourself, you got to keep moving forward,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like your health and your fitness is like your paramount. It's like
Yeah.
nobody else is gonna like take care of you as
Yeah.
much as you can.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that like self-acknowledgement is like really key, because it's like you've gotten yourself to this point thus far, and
Right.
also like that responsibility is key, because it's like if you're not where you want to be, then you're also your greatest asset and your greatest resource to getting you where you want to be.
Yeah. Like what you said earlier, like, yeah, everybody's like cheering you on and supporting you, but at the end of the day, like, you're the one that's in your shoes, you know, you're the one that's going through this. And whether, you know, I'm sure there's gonna be good days and there's gonna be not so good days, you know, there's gonna be harder days where you're just exhausted and you're just like, man, like, I don't know if I can do this, you know, like just that mentality. But when you look back at how you were, hopefully you can kind of just by yourself kind of pick yourself up and, you know, get yourself out of there. And I remember one of the things you told me was that the memories that you've made before, like, you can always go back to that and just like laugh at it, you know what I mean, laugh with it and cherish it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, man.
And it's funny because I did it earlier today. Like I was a little bad, but I was like, man, I was like, I don't like the situation that I'm in, and it's just like I don't like the fact that I can't really drive myself anywhere. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, what are the last 5 things that made you laugh? And I was like, I don't know what they are. And I was like, what are the last 5 things? So then I just remembered. I was like, well, you know, I like laughed earlier at, I can't remember. I think I was watching like a Batman movie or something, and like something funny or something witty happened. And then I just remember like how like badass Batman appeared, and I was like, oh my god, like, this is amazing. And then I thought about that, and then I was like, okay, give me like 4 more things. And then like you retrain your brain, or you like find that new train of thought.
You reprogram like, yourself basically.
Yeah. And you're just like, next thing you know, it's like you're laughing, and it's like, what happened to all that negative stuff about how you didn't like your situation? And I was like, what negative stuff? You know, like, it's like the brain is like, it's like an Etch-a-Sketch. It's like all you have to do is like shake it up a little bit. And the image that was there is gone.
That's genius.
Really is, like, you know, it's like people complicate things. It's like I was beat when I was a child. I was just like, you're just thinking about too many negative things. So let's shake it up a little bit and like draw a new image, or like, you know, imprint a new image.
Your brain is an Etch-a-Sketch. Wow.
It literally is.
I'm like so happy to see you still you know what I mean? I really think that, like what you said and like what we talked about, you were built for this, you know, like your whole life, with all the ups and downs, the hardships, the trials, led up to this and this moment, you know, and to be able to connect with people and to just have that positive mentality. Like, I don't know if anybody else could have been in the situation and reacted the same way as you did, you know.
With you saying that, I was like, maybe I was built for this. It's like, you know, like all the hardships and trials and tribulations that I've been through, and all the work that I've done up to this point, is like maybe I was exactly the person for this, to like shift the perspective about what it means to be a cancer patient.
Exactly. You were the one for this, man, the chosen one, Leo.
The golden child.
You're Keanu Reeves right now, man. You're just getting unplugged. That's just realizing your potential.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And it's been amazing. Like, it's definitely been like a great journey, and I just appreciate like all the people in my life who are supporting me right now, and who have supported me. Like, just thank you. Without that, I don't even know where I'd be.
Of course.
And it was funny, during this journal, like one of the most things that like stuck out of my mind was like one of the first videos that I posted about it, where I was like, I don't know, I think I was like dancing like on my way to chemo in the car or something like that, or like that, like Night at the Roxbury. And you know, like my friend, she messaged me on Facebook, and she's like, you know, I showed this to my grandmother. She's 87, you know, and she's battling cancer, and this gave her a little bit of a boost, and like, you know, like that. Like, almost made my heart stop, you know. It's like, I didn't think the cancer was going to take me out. I thought, like, you know, I was going to die of a heart attack, because I was like just like so taken aback and so shocked. Just, oh my God, this is like the most amazing thing that anybody's ever said to me. It's just like, and if I could have this impact on this person, then it's just like I can have an impact on more people. And it's just like just really representing myself to that every single time that I put something out, or every single time that I share something with someone.
Yeah. Because especially now, like, you know, being on a podcast and like talking to me and like posting on Facebook, your life has kind of become more public, and people are asking you like questions and checking up on you, and you have to find time to analyze and process it on your own, you know, because otherwise you're just going to be spitting the same information over and over again, because everybody's going to be asking you the same questions, you know, and then it just becomes redundant, and you're just in a cycle. But then you don't have time to really process where you're like, where am I really right now, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's something that I hope like you would try to do too, you know.
Yeah, and I do take it. So like I do like write out a journal a lot, and I think what I want to start doing more is like video journaling.
There you go.
Because I'm really getting like the essence of like what I'm dealing with, or like what I'm going through, whether it's like I'm up or whether I'm down. And if I am down, just like really connecting to myself or to the audience,
right?
And being like, you know, exactly where I am. So I greatly appreciate that recommendation.
Yeah, you see it. You can see it in your face, and you can see it in your eyes. You know, if you're up, if you're down, if you're happy, if you're crying. You know, and like, and that's a real thing. It's just the real emotion of it. You know, and again, it'll be up to you if you want to post it or not. You know, maybe you won't post something like. You'll have like a super crying moment one day, but then you won't post it for like another week. You know, it might take you a while to really just process it. But hey, maybe somebody needed to see that or hear that, you know? But, yeah.
And that's the thing too, because it's like during this journey, it's like it hasn't been all like smiles and laughs. Even though going to chemo was fun, coming back from chemo was fun. It's like that weekend, it's like that Saturday and Sunday, because I have chemos every other Friday. All I did was just like wake up, eat, sleep, you know, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that was like the majority of my weekend.
Yeah.
So.
I know you talked about it in the podcast, but how does that like make you, is it just an exhausted feeling? Is it an emotional exhaustion too? Or is it just physical?
Yeah, for me, it just felt like fatigue. Like it just felt like, oh, I ate time to bed. You know, like almost like my body was just telling me, like I wasn't like dragging or mopey or weak or anything like that. I know if I did get out of my sleep, I would wake up like a little groggy, like what's going on, you know, or like a little bit in a daze. But I guess it's like the same effect that you would have like if you took like some NyQuil and you woke up early, like and then like, oh, what's going on? It's like, you know, like the NyQuil didn't wear off. And I think that's what my body was dealing with, and that's how, you know, I was handling it.
Like don't operate heavy machinery type of.
Probably not that. Stay away from the forklift if you are going to get chemo.
I was like, hey guys, I'm ready. Where do you want me to move this?
Got my hard hat. What's that backpack? Just my chemo. You might want to take this shift off.
Go home, Jamal. Go home.
Clock out. Use your PTO. Get the hell out of here.
I know you were aware of what you were trying to put into your body before. Is it like mandated to eat certain things? Or?
It's weird because they gave me this reference guide, and like it's funny because like they were like, you know, you would think that a healthy diet would be a lot of vegetables, a little bit of meat, and like a little bit of cheese and milk. But you know, when you're going through chemo, they actually want you to eat more milk and cheese because, you know, and meat for the protein, you know. And they were like less vegetables because it's really, really hard on your digestive tract.
True, the fiber and all that.
Yeah. And when I read that, I was like, what? But I was like, oh, okay. So, you know, like right now, it's like my diet like mainly consists of a lot of rice, just because like rice like fills me up and expands my stomach. And I have found that like once I started this treatment, I've been like ravenous. So like there are some days where I'm just like, I just can't stop eating. I don't know what it is. I just can't stop. It's not even good. I'm just hungry. I don't know why I can't stop, you know, and I'll just like have like, you know, like 3 or 4 plates, and I'm like, okay, something has to be done about this. Because like, one, I'm gonna go bankrupt if I keep eating like this. And 2, like, you know, I'm gonna become a house if I keep eating like this. So like, one trick that I found was like to eat rice because it like to like expand in my stomach. And then like, so far just like kind of like a little bit of meat with the rice. I've been eating like a lot of fruit, and then like a salad with like every other meal. So I eat like maybe like 3 or 4 times a day, and I'll have like 2 salads, like maybe like 4 or 5 apples, and then like rice, and then like maybe like some like ground turkey.
So it helps that you were eating pretty good before. I mean, you weren't eating like a slob, you know what I mean? Like, so it definitely helps that you're on that regimen, you know, already. It wasn't like a hard transition in that aspect, at least.
Yeah. And I think it just like helps in the long run, just like with anything. Like,
exactly.
You know, with anything you deal with, like when you're fit going into a surgery, you're more likely to bounce back than when you're not fit.
Right. Right. Man, so like I know you mentioned because you had the port put in. And you know, the bag on your side, and then lifting, you know, just 20 pounds, or not even 20 pounds, just has to be less than that. So like
19.9.
99999. I'm sure you feel like, what can I do? You know what I mean? Like, just to being so active before, telling you can't do that now. So have you like found anything yet in terms of just anything?
So far walking. So like today, like what I discovered is like a walk around my sister's block is a mile. So like I did like 3 this morning at like 8 o'clock, then like another 2 like around 11 o'clock, and then I just came back and did 3 now before we had our call. I did like a total of like 7 miles today.
Wow.
Well, 6 plus 2, 8 miles today, which is like amazing. So I'm
Yeah.
like just walking, which is like helping out a lot
Yeah.
until like the doctor's like, okay, you can run.
Right,
And I'll
right.
start running.
Right. And do you know how long that's gonna be till then?
I have no idea. And it's funny too because of the coronavirus, they actually canceled my checkup appointment. So they're like, yeah, in order to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, we're gonna cancel your checkup. Which she wasn't really adamant about it either. She was like, you look pretty good, you look pretty healthy. We'll check up in a month, but if you want to come, you can come. If you don't want to come, you don't have to come.
Oh, okay.
And I think since it wasn't like urgent or like
Right,
not like
right.
eating out or anything like that, they're just like, okay, yeah. Like I think after all this, I want to go skydiving, go on a cross country trip around the world, and definitely do a marathon.
Yeah.
Or like not around the world, around the U.S.
Yeah.
And definitely do a marathon.
Yeah. That's one of the things that like my coworker told me to, because he just did a marathon 2 weeks ago. For him, like he's a super fit dude. Like he did like jiu-jitsu for a while, like train. He'll just like run. He ran like 13 miles around the neighborhood. We live close by each other. He done like 13 miles just to do it, just to see if he could. And I'm
Wow.
like, man, like, but he's just super fit. He always saw a marathon like bucket list. I could never do that, And then I had him, we did a half marathon together like last month. He stayed with me the whole time. Like I'm sure he could have like finished a lot faster, but he was like, no, like I'll stay. And he really like pushed me to like open my mind up a little bit more. Like again, that mentality of when my body feels tired, like it's capable of so much more, like keep pushing. And so like he really like helped me with that. So when he said that he ran the marathon 2 weeks ago, he was like, man, it always was that unattainable goal. Like it was like the cap of like all these goals that he wanted to do. But now that like he did it, took that cap off. And now it's like, man, like what else is out there? What else is out there? And so like, I mean, just bringing it back to you, like, man, like getting through this and like going through what you're going through, man, like what else is out there?
So just like you said, it's like maybe just like journaling this and maybe even making a product about it, because if anything, this is like something that people need to know, and like just how graceful and how like amazing the situation has been so far. It's like, if I could handle this, I kind of feel like I could handle more, or I feel like I could handle like something equivalent to this, or maybe even just help somebody through who doesn't necessarily see a reason to get a checkup, or doesn't necessarily see a reason to go see a doctor. And just inspiring these people, and also like the people going through it, like, look, I'm here with you, I'm in this battle, like, and it's just like, it doesn't have to be hard for you. And it's like, if there's any way that I could show you to make it pleasant, I will. At this point, it's almost like instinctual. It's like, I see what I'm going through as a cancer patient, and I see what they're going through, and like how they look, and I'm just like you can't help like just like instinctually to like, or just like emotionally feel bad, like wow. And like, it's almost like when you're really, really hungry and you see like that burger, you're just like, instinct like eat. And it's just like kind of like when I see like somebody suffering or like going through what I'm going through, it's just like help them, like help, like just literally like be there for them. And then it's just like almost like a second, like an instinct, or like it's almost like, I don't want to say a habit, but it's just literally what I do, like how I'm just programmed now. Right. So it's like writing it down doesn't seem necessary, because it's like I don't have to write down like I should eat today. It's like, like when I see that food and I'm hungry, it's like eat.
Hey,
and then like and like so like when I see anybody going through this like situation, I'm like it's like I should help them, or I should make like the environment around me better. It's just like kind of like instinctual. And I got fortunate enough that I have that awareness to be able to sense that, and that I have the abilities that God has given me in order to be able to provide that for others. I mean, I'm just grateful for every moment. I'm just like, grateful for this moment that you have now, because like nothing else is like as incredible as this moment that you have right now, and like the power that you could like have in this moment, and what you could achieve right now in this moment is priceless.
Yeah, man, that's what it is. And again, it's like it's not even promised, it's not even like guaranteed. It's just like,
no, it's funny. It's funny, like my nurse who like comes to visit me at my house, she's like, she's like, you'll get through this, you're young. I was like, my sister got through cancer, God rest her soul. What are you talking about? And then like she was like, about a week after her treatment, she got hit by a car. So I'm like, like, so it's just like, she beat the cancer, but it's like she didn't beat death. And it's like, tomorrow isn't promised. And it's like, who knows what's going to happen. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that I have the motivation and the inspiration right now. And I want to share it right now, because motivation, inspiration is fleeting,
Yeah. It's like, again, like that mixture of that marathon mentality but also taking it like a day at a time, because again, it's finding that in between, that balance.
Yeah, just like a marathon, it's like one step at a time, or just like eating an elephant, like one bite at a time. It's like it's a big task, and you literally just have to take it day by day,
Yes.
or moment to moment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What'd you do this week?
This week, it's like so weird because like the highlights of my day are like when I have like a checkup or an appointment or something like that.
Yeah.
Like this week, I just really didn't have anything. I think the highlight of my last week was the chemo, and then
Right.
I think I had a checkup again on like the 11th or something like that.
Right.
So kind of just like the highlight of my days have really just been like going to see the doctors, you know. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I went into the office and I was like, oh hey Mr. Grignon, how are you doing? Like, hey Jamal, how are you? And like, you know, they're all like waving to me
Yeah.
and like just like really like friendly to me, and it's just like wow, like if I wasn't here, like these people wouldn't be filled with this joy
Right.
now.
Right.
Being taken aback by like that moment, and people are like, oh, somebody wanted to see you, and I'm like, who the heck wants to see me? And it's like the lady who like took my vitals, you know, and I'm just like,
Right.
holy crap, like it's crazy, like that impact and this inspiration on the people.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like the other people who don't know me, like see it happening, and they're like, okay, like who is this guy? You know? So it's
Yeah.
just make it a point next time to introduce myself to the other people that are there, you know, and just like spread more joy, and just like, you know, literally almost make it infectious to the point where it's like they get inspired, or they get touched, or they get moved, and the next thing you know, they're interacting with the next patient.
Right. Right.
That same like level of inspiration,
Right.
you know, like that's
Right.
like one side of being generated. To know that I contributed to that, like I could die right now a happy man.
Infectious and just letting it carry over to everybody else.
Yeah.
That's
Just
good.
realizing it's like a ripple effect, you know. It's like when you drop a stone in the pond, like and it makes like that ripple. It's like
Yeah.
you taking that action, you smiling at that person, you taking the time to uplift their day. It has an effect on like the entire ocean.
Right. Again, you just never know who you're affecting. Somebody from across the room could be watching you, and you just don't even know that. And
Yeah.
they'll be like, man, if he's like that and like just uplifted, and what's holding me back?
Yeah.
And that's how I'm feeling, like watching all the motivational guys now. It's just like, if he's going through that, if he went through that, what's holding me back? So, you know, same thing, man. Same thing you're doing, just on a more like personal level, you know, personal scale, up close and personal.
I just want people to be like, he has cancer? You know, kind of just like, like there's no way. Like, how can we be so happy? How can we be so motivated? How can we be so driven? It's like, yes, I do. You know, I actually want to make a shirt that says like, I have cancer. What's yours? You know, like as I'm climbing Everest.
Nice. Nice.
I don't want to be too cocky though, so I don't know. But I am at the same time, you know. It's like, kind of like push the button.
Well, it's not being cocky. I mean, it's just stating a fact, you know. It's just... I'm impressed. This is all stuff that I really just wanted to pick your brain and like really hear you, you know, say it. And if this were to happen to me, like I wonder how I would be. You know what I mean? Again, just that idea of, yeah, I'm working out, I'm healthy. It's easy pill as well, though. Yeah, it's easier said than done. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just hearing you say it, I'm like, okay. There is a possibility that I'll be okay with it, or like not okay with it, but just, you know, still be motivated and be inspirational to others, you know.
Yeah, like there's definitely a possibility. And like, you know, it's like sometimes you could understand it on a logical level, but like the emotions still come up.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
like I said, even though I cut my hair short, like I still get sad that I'm gonna like lose my hair and won't be able to grow my hair back.
Right.
You know, like I don't really have a lot of hair to begin with, and this is actually like high for me. You know, like I actually feel like I need a haircut. So it's like logically I understand that my hair, like I don't have hair, and like my hair falling out isn't gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
And like I said, like the other day I still got sad about it, you know, and I just like I didn't cry, but I just got like depressed, which immediately turned to like anger and silence, you know, and I was kind of just like sitting in the car like with my arms crossed, like not talking to anybody, but like nobody knew what I was going through.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm just kind of like quiet in the back seat.
Right.
And then, you know, like I didn't come out of it until we finally got to our destination, and I was just like, you know, even though logically I knew like nothing was gonna happen, or like nothing bad was gonna, like nothing permanent was gonna happen, like on that emotional level it still was there.
Yeah.
It's like you just gotta break up, you just gotta get it over, you just gotta put yourself back there, but it's like emotionally it's like you're still stuck there.
Right.
Like, you know, it's like,
Right. Yeah, it's easier to say, easier said than done. It's just you gotta get past that emotional first, and then then it makes sense. Again, it's the same thing about again, just having that moment of enlightenment, or having that moment of light just come down and be like, oh, okay. And then that's when you're ready to see the next step. See the next step. See the next step.
Yeah, you're right. Like, there is a possibility to go through any situation that's like amazingly, gracefully, and like inspiring others. If I could be like a shining example of that, like, you know, I won't hesitate to throw myself, you know, to like carry that cross, or like, you know, to bear that burden, you know.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's like there's going to be a point in time, you know, where I'm not going to be on this planet, and it's just like, what am I going to do for the generations after me? You know, it's like, what impact am I going to leave for them? And it's like, once you really, really, really step outside of yourself, like beyond yourself, it's just like, okay, well, it's like, how do I want to impact the world when I'm not here? Or like, how do I want the world to look when I'm not here? Just operating from there, it's like, there's nothing that you wouldn't do in this moment right now.
That's true.
And it's impossible for you to get in your own way, or for you to come up, because it's like, you're not focusing on you, you're focusing on what you can contribute.
What are you leaving behind, and how are you gonna let the future generations, you know, pick up where you left off, type of thing, carry it over.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't have kids, but I think about like how what I'm doing right now will affect them, like, you know, every single day of every, you know, every single moment of every single day. And I think like parents kind of automatically have this like level of thinking where it's like, you know, leaving a legacy, or like leaving their family better off than, you know, when they're gone. And I'm not a parent currently, and I'm trying to develop that mentality, despite the fact that I don't have kids, you know.
But again, like, just being in that situation, just knowing it already, and not even being in that situation, you know, like, it's you're like leveling up, you know, and you're just like, you're like modding. It's like you're learning about doing that without even having to have kids. Like, it's just
upgrading.
You know, mod. But yeah, it's true. It's true, man. That's the goal, though. Really, like, I imagine my kids, and I imagine, you know, when my dad passed away last year, like. That's the thing that I wish he would have talked to me more. I wish he would have said more stuff while he was in the hospital. But I just really feel like he knew that I already knew what was up. He knew that I already knew how to handle myself afterward. You know what I mean? He didn't have to say anything. Like, I already knew. And like, to have that instilled in me without him even having to say anything, that just goes to show that's the kind of man like he was. He talked to me without having to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, he left that legacy within me. And so I'm like passing that on to my kids and, you know, future generations. And that's what I'm trying to do, I guess, with the series and with you. Again, like, for as long as I've known you, you are positivity, like, you know, doing things your own way, and you know, just looking at the bright side of everything. I mean, just for as long as I've known you. And then, you know, I want to pass that along to the people that don't know you. I want to pass that along to, you know, me living down here, the friends that I've made, and, you know, the coworkers I've been, like, they don't know who you are, but I want them to know your story, you know, because it's infectious. You know what I mean? It's infectious. So that's my whole point of this, you know, conversation, just to have you come on and share your story. Otherwise, nobody's really going to know about it.
I like that. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. I appreciate you agreeing and being so open, being so, like, vulnerable.
I mean, if you have more questions to ask, I'll gladly answer them. Just really, like I said before, take things day by day, and you know, just know it's a diagnosis, not a death sentence. And there have been people with way worse cases than I have that have come back from, like, way worse than I have. So like, I'm just fortunate to only have stage 3. I'm fortunate to be so young, and you know, if I could get through it, you could get through it. And there are people worse off than me who have gone through it. So
good to hear, man. Good to hear. You were built for this, man.
I was made for this.
You are Iron Man. This is what you were made for. Shine light on the world, bro.
much as possible.
Shine light on the world.